Sanibonani. Ngiyaphila kodwa. Sithokoze. Bakwethu igama lami uThando wakanyameni. Umjini uyithandele inyama nje. Okunye nokunye nakunayo. So bakwethu I just want to welcome and thank everyone for being here today. And on behalf of the Durban Film Office and obviously the Parks, Recreation and Culture Unit of eThekwini Municipality, really our partners, the guests, the speakers, we want to say thank you so much for embracing us for the past 2 days and this being the third day. So a round of applause for you to actually be here. So over the past few days, I think there was an exploration of a few dimensions of how the screen sector actually works. You know, how do we now pour it from being a passion situation to being a commodity situation where we start making business. And that's what we are here for. And I really do hope, Uti, over the past few days, those who were here, they got to, one, learn, share knowledge, network, because as I always say, your net worth is literally equal to your net worth. So if your net worth, I'm hoping that then we'll now move to the next stage of creating opportunities and receiving opportunities, because we can only do by being together and collaborate as much as we can. So Namhlanje, I will run the program as your program director, but I must caution you that I actually come from the music industry. So I am as much a learner, Namhlanje, as I will be with some of you, and you probably will teach me a few things or two, including those who are going to be sitting with us right here in the front. So without delving so much into that, I think we have someone who's going to welcome us, explain to us what the purpose of the day actually is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Ubaba Ufezilebego from the Durban Film Office. But before he comes up, we sort of want to recap on what happened over the past few days by playing a little video for you as Ubaba Ufezilebego comes and gives us the purpose of the day, welcomes us properly, and tells us what is going to be happening next. And then obviously, I will come back and then we will introduce the next session. So can we cue that video as Ubaba Ufezilebego comes on stage? And please give him a round of applause as he does that. Thank you.
Mine is very short and sweet. Just to welcome you all from the Durban Film Office. I must say that it's been very powerful, impactful, as well as very informative to us days. And I'm also looking forward to be doing exactly that even today. And before I can do that, I just want to recap on what happened yesterday, like I did yesterday for the first day that we gathered here. And we had 6 sessions yesterday. We had FPP who came to give us a lot of information and knowledge about how to protect our intellectual property. And we also had a session around people living with disabilities, which was very touching. And for us as funders, to me, it said something else, that we are not as inclusive as we are supposed to be in terms of people living with disabilities. So we must, in all our efforts, try and include them and ensure that when we give people funding, they do have an allowance to, or in fact, it must be one of the requirements that you should have them in your creative space. And also, just something that I took out of that from that session was that the fact that I never thought that someone who is visually impaired or who's blind can write a song. And the person who was presenting said that one of the songs, or some of the songs that are written for Tani Somaswai, they are written by someone who is blind. Just imagine that. So there are many opportunities that are there. And then there was also another session which also dealt with IP, that was Kumisa. Mr. Tando Nyamen is here. That was also another lovely session. And we also had a session around the creativity, the creative minds, and also around IP. And there was also there was a story there about Bafana, the guy who claimed the trademark of the jersey around 2010. And the name of the guy was Will Smith. That Bafana thing started in 1993 and waited all along until the hype for 2010 came, and then he took that advantage. So today, as we are closing this summit, the Durban Screen Summit, which it's the very first of its kind in Durban, and I could see that from the turnout from people who came to attend that we're all hungry to get a session like this, and never had sessions like this. This is meant for you local filmmakers and other creative teams that are here, that you must grab these opportunities and you must make sure that you are the ones who command us to do these sort of events, because it is not for us, it is for you. So we are only your voice, and without you then we won't have such events. But it was due to the fact that the industry needs to have a session like this. So today, I don't want to take Mr. Tando Nyamen's job, because I won't get a portion. If anything. Okay, so today we'll be having broadcasters, and we know we were talking about screenwriting and all that, but now let's get our works to the mainstream. So we'll be having broadcasters, and we'll also be talking about how to make a TV reality show. You know, the famous TV reality shows that we have. I won't mention them, but you have to stay in order for you to see all that. And then we will also have a masterclass, but that will be after lunch, I guess. If not so, but we will have it anyway. And then we will have the screening, and we will have the cast and crew coming to talk to us about how they went about in terms of doing that project. So let me not take much of your time. I know we are all hungry to get information. It's our last day. Please write as much as possible. Please record as much as you can, so that when you go out of this room, you know why you were here, why you wasted your 3 days here. Write down, I wasted my 3 days on these days, but they are going to be with me in the future. And I thank you.
Another round of applause for Bubble Pickle. I think that it's amazing what the Durban Film Office has actually done, and overall the Durban municipality under PRC, to actually have a summit that just delves into filmmaking, and that actually supports the screen sector or the film sector as a whole across the ecosystem. This is something that we actually need, and I'm hoping that should they actually give us another session next year, that we're going to fill out the seats and there's going to be a riot outside of people wanting to come in. So please go out and tell people, don't be left out. Come to these sessions, because there's a lot of people who come from far and wide who are here to share a lot of pertinent information that we actually need. I, for one, am very excited. Again, I'm from the music industry, so music, film, fashion, and other elements of the creative sector, they actually play nice together. So already I'm seeing a lot of synergies, I'm seeing a lot of opportunities, and I'm certainly going to take advantage of that. I do want to correct Ubabo Pedro when he says you wasted your time here by saying you invested your time here, right? But then he's also correct to those who are not going to take up the opportunity of what has been presented, because if you walk out of here the same way you walked in, then really you will have wasted your time, and that will be on you. So for those who've invested their time, these are people who will walk out full with information, with content, with connections, and also strategy on how to make those connections actually work. Which brings me to a very exciting session, which I'm going to moderate. The title of that session is Connecting Filmmakers with Broadcasters for Licensing and Content Innovation. We're talking broadcasting. We're meeting up with commissioning editors, heads of channels, to discuss how, as a filmmaker, do I get my works on a broadcaster, or at least attract a broadcaster? What is it that they look for? How do I make this thing work? What type of work do I need to bring into them so that I can show them that I have value that I'm bringing, so that I can extract value out of it? Because again, it's not just a passion project. It is business at the end of the day, okay? So with that said, I really would love to call upon the stage my guests from the panel, and I'll start with Livuani Dagada, who is the head of channels for Moja Love and Moja 99. Please give a round of applause. Following her very closely is Mrs. Ayanda Mkiza, who's head of marketing also of Moja Love. Asdali, and then we have Usandi Nkosi, who is the senior commissioning editor, industry development, video entertainment, local productions, SABC. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Victoria Mage, who is the commissioning editor, entertainment, from the South African Broadcasting Corporation, the SABC. Give it up. And as she comes up, I will also take a seat and we start the conversation now. My hope is to curate a conversation whereby I am hoping that you will also find yourself in that conversation. And please ask questions and ask the right questions. And there is no wrong question, okay? Let's ask questions, but also please understand, because we are short of time, we were supposed to start at 9. I've been given the task of still landing the plane exactly at 10:30, so we're gonna be cognizant of time. So if I cut you and I say I cannot take more questions, please charge it to my head and not my heart. I really wanna ask more questions to give people opportunities. Can I kindly ask that you speak to them because they're still here outside of the plenary, but because we need to really keep to time. Okay, we go. There we go. Robert, are you guys well? Welcome, welcome to Durban. Welcome. Isn't it hot? It's winter time. Nah? You should actually come down a lot more. I've got a feeling about that already from here. Is anyone from here? Really? Okay, well, Afanias, and you're welcome. Say welcome. Okay, so I think we'll just dive into it. Without any further ado, because obviously time is a bit of a problem. Now I've been given this task of running this program within an hour. So 30 minutes has already gone past. We'll make it make sense. We'll have a conversation amongst each other, and we're going to speak to it. So I am curious. Obviously, I did say that I come from the music industry. And I recently just started a podcast with my fam called A Business in Music, where we just speak all things music business. So it's only on YouTube, right? So I'm thinking, how do I bring this onto a television pitch, or maybe a television platform where people can see it, because it's really famous people who come to this platform and they're speaking their hearts out. So with that said, I've always been curious, what types of content are broadcasters actively looking for right now? And maybe this is something that can just go across the board. If you can just give me your take, and then maybe we can go over as well to that side as well. Maybe we can start with you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously the most important thing that you have to work on as a producer or somebody who's working on, producing content, whether for social media or for linear broadcast or for streaming, you have to just make sure that your concept has a strong, unique selling point.
Right.
So it's about the concept. The concept. So if your concept is clear, it's strong, you then have to decide where does it belong, where can it sit comfortably at. So that's where you start to look at the different broadcasters, and you can obviously research them and make sure that your concept aligns with that specific broadcaster that you would have identified.
Oh wow, okay. Thank you. Livuani, is that the same take that you want to bring into it as well?
Yes, definitely. But for Moja Love, because we are very unique,
right.
The main concept is to open up the industry. If you look at the channel, we have actually made our own stars, and that's what we actually strive for, that we need to open up the industry. And also the shows, they need to resonate with our audience. That is why we tell authentic stories. So our shows, it's something that's happening. And within us, when you resonate with that content, that's when you know you've hit it.
Wow, okay, it's personal. All right. Anyone wants to take a step, or maybe, in fact, you know what, I think I'm sort of covered. I do want to ask, maybe, Sis Victoria.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You've already given us a sense of, I think, just the responsibility. Which genres are oversupplied in terms of film? It sounds like you want to take it.
Yeah, I'm going to
Please.
take it because coming from industry development,
Right.
which is the department I come from, that
good.
takes a look at trying to partner with different stakeholders to develop the industry. What happens is that we interface quite a lot then with people that are wanting to submit works to the SABC. So for the years that I've been to the SABC and the road shows that we've done over the years in terms of seeking content from producers for the SABC, we've seen that drama is oversaturated. Everyone wants to do drama. Everyone has a story. Everyone thinks that their drama will be the drama. And I always tell producers that we are oversaturated. Everyone is submitting a drama. Actually, look at the low-hanging fruit. Because as the SABC, we've got different genres. We've got drama, we've got entertainment, which Victoria works for. We've got factual, with documentaries,
right.
Factual content. We've got children and education. We've got religion, which people don't necessarily look into. And I always say to producers, those are your low-hanging fruit. Yeah, because everyone else wants to do drama. The drama department is constantly inundated with propositions.
Okay, Uncles, I think you've literally covered, because I was about to ask which genre is underserved as well.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I can tell you that. Religion for one.
Right.
Number one is religion. And it's kind of an absurd thing because as South Africans, we are very big on religion.
Yes.
Religious music is very big in South Africa. Our religious artists are one of the biggest artists, and they command large audiences. Gogo bethu, noma wethu, bahambi sonto, mama Thursday, njalo njalo. And it's quite absurd that people are not tapping into that market, and I think it's a market that is just sitting there, and it's a market where people can go into. No one is doing a drama, for example, that is probably religiously or spiritually centered.
Right.
No one is doing innovative music shows or podcasts around issues of religion and spirituality. So there's a whole lot of content that you can do with religion. The second one being children and education.
Okay.
People see the education and children genre as being very boring. My background is from children's broadcasting.
Okay.
And I found that, there's so much to do around that, and especially when you travel around the world and you see how broadcasters internationally take care of children's content, and it's deemed as being very important because, these are the foundations of, society and so forth. Coming from South Africa as well with our issues with education and the reach, those shows help. And educational programs can also be cool. Fun fact, Scheme Sum is under the education genre. It's not even under the drama genre. Scheme Sum started as a radio drama on Tobela FM.
Wow.
And it grew into a drama series, which grew into a daily. And look at it now, it's the number one most watched.
It's funny you say that. I always, because, like I said, I teach on the music business side of things. I'm hoping that there's music composers in the room as well, because I know that we tend to dabble on film and many different things. So when you say Scheme Sum, I always make reference to the theme song of Scheme Sum and the fact that when the song starts, there's this gentleman that a lot of people think he fell off in the industry, but he's actually earning royalties each time that Scheme Sum project goes. So guys, music and film, the same as styling and fashion, all these things work together. So I'm so grateful for that response. You also just triggered that. So I'm going to go to Mamkis, right? And just ask you, what opportunities currently exist for first-time creators from the modular spectrum? Because I believe your model is a bit different as opposed to the SABC model. So maybe could you just take us through that business model and how that actually works, how you attract, and what are your oversupply genres, what are your underserved genres as well at Modular? I think let me stop there.
Well, just to add on to what Lev was actually saying, so we all know Modular is about telling real stories.
Right.
So we tell stories that people will resonate with. We don't do dramas. We're all about reality shows, confrontational shows, investigative shows, where we know when I'm watching this one, she went through the same thing.
Right.
So that's our focus. In terms of upcoming and young producers who want to get into the industry, we were actually chatting about it with Liv earlier on to say we're working on a system at Mojalab in particular to get stories, because right now what we're doing is we're not accepting pitches, and that's why you say we're not accepting pitches from outside because we've been bitten too many times. Where you'll come and you'll give us your concept, and a few months later you see something similar on the channel, and you come back and you say, I sent this to Ayanda 2 years ago, you stole my idea. So we're trying to protect ourselves and you as well. So we are currently working on a system because we know there's great stories out there. We produce our own content. We have producers, we have PMs, we have a whole product. Mojalab is a production company and a channel.
Right.
So, but we know there's stories out there and we know there's great concepts out there. we love them, they're great, but we just need to find a way to bring them in whilst protecting ourselves, because obviously we're not going to take every single concept. There's a million.
Of course.
Yeah, and we have so many hours on it in a day. So that's what we're working on right now. And once we get that right, we'll communicate it and we'll put it out there.
All right, thank you for that. So I'm going to reserve my pitching question for my SABC colleagues. I'm going to stay away from you guys, but I think while I'm with Moja Love, I'm just curious because you say that you also are a production house, so to speak. So whose IP is it anyway? Because we're living in a very IP-controlled environment.
Yeah.
So you want to take it?
Yes, I'll take it. So we've got a group of EPs, executive producers.
Right.
So they come up with shows, they develop shows, and then once they pitch the shows to the management team and it gets approved, then it moves to pilot. Once you get your pilot approved, then it moves to production.
Right.
So the IP belongs to Moja Love because...
Of course. I mean...
Yes.
I mean...
Yes, we're waiting for it.
that makes a lot of
You
sense.
have an idea and we make your idea happen. So
Exactly. And this may come across as a very elementary and somewhat stupidish question. It's a new word, guys. Look it up. Stupidish. I'm just curious. Then how do I, as someone who've actually submitted a proposal and perhaps a business plan, and you guys love the business idea, because I know that there's a whole lot of commercial outlook into it. How do I get paid as a filmmaker? If you guys are keeping the IP, so you guys are maintaining the IP, where's my income?
So remember, the EPs, the executive producers,
Right.
are the ones that come up with ideas.
Uh-huh.
So they get paid
Right.
for coming up, developing, making sure that the pilot is approved. So they get paid for that.
We're talking business, guys. We are going to ask questions about money. We're going to make money. So let's come back to the pitching side of things. Now I'm bringing it to my left right here. What does a strong pitch look like from your perspective? And I think maybe let's start with entertainment. Then I'll bring it to you as well, because
I will take you back
Okay.
just a little bit.
Sure.
Your concept definitely has to be strong. It's
Right.
got to be unique.
Right.
But more than anything, it definitely does have to align with the channel that you're pitching for.
Right.
So, for example, SABC One is a youth channel. So, if you want to, submit or pitch a concept that is, if you want it on the channel, you must make sure that it aligns with the channel, it aligns with the youth, and it should also be able to live on multi-platform like SABC Plus as well.
Right.
So, relatability is key. And it should also be able to meet our mandates, SABC mandates.
Okay.
So obviously we're talking about regional representation, we're talking about diversity, we are talking about language representation as well. So those are very key.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Mangosi, did you want to add anything to that, or Victoria's covered everything?
Victoria has covered it. What I always say is that what really makes a pitch stand out is what she's talking about. Know your audience, know your broadcaster. We are the SABC. We are a public broadcaster, so we serve a public mandate. And it's very important for people to know that, because we found in the past, someone comes to pitch and then or even commissions that we've had, and we are brainstorming stories for a new season or for a fresh season or workshopping it, and we argue around how to deliver stories, how to deliver the concept, and we told things like, oh, but Moja Love does it. But we are not Moja Love. We are very different to Moja Love in terms of what we deliver. Moja Love can deliver a reality show on the same subject, but how it will be executed will be different because of the mandate that we serve. And we know that with our audiences as well, Moja Love can get away with a lot. And if we were to do some of the things that Moja Love does on SABC, immediately we get a BCCSA complaint because people recognize the SABC as a public platform, and they recognize it as kusendlini kagoga kwenziwa kanje, kodwa ekhaya singakwenza lokho. So it's that it's producers coming to the pitch knowing very well the public broadcaster and what it serves or what its mandates, knowing the channel that you are pitching for is very important.
Absolutely.
Because that speaks to the tone and for your concept. Because it's no use pitching a young show about young people in the hood, a certain subculture that would appeal to SABC 1, but you're pitching to SABC 3. So you need to know your target audience, you need to know the channels that you're pitching for, in terms of who they are and who they serve. What is their proposition? There's a lot.
Pretty much.
There's a lot, and I mean, I just also wanted to touch a little bit of what you touched on in terms of people's concepts and
the IP,
and the IP, and Moja not also doing pitching sessions and because of various issues that we find. I believe there's never a new idea, brand new.
Which is true.
There's never a new idea, and in my 19 years.
Yes.
I started when I was like 6 years old.
Yes. All right. So this is in your blood.
Yeah. In my many years working for the broadcaster, where we've seen at a time when the SABC took out briefs. When we used to take out the brief book to say this is what we're looking for, and we'd be very descriptive about it. And we'd find that, there'd be issues around people when you've now awarded the company and someone in Victoria come in and say, but that was my idea, and then he submitted, and then he's like, and that's the problem. And I can give one example, and I always say to my colleagues, I wish we could invite everyone in one room like this, and everyone just presents their idea, because by the third person, everyone would be wanting to change what they've written. We took out a brief on the metric dance journey years ago. If I tell you every single proposal that we read, and we probably for that one particular brief we got about 40, everyone started with the same line. Everyone started with the same line. The metric dance is like the gateway to your wara. Everyone started the same way. So now, whose idea is it anyway?
That is a good question. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So there is no new idea out there. What I'm thinking, somebody else is thinking, but it's in how I'm going to deliver it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it's sort of like even in the music space. If you think about it, guys, it's IP related. Every note has been sung, every chord has been played, everything. This is how you actually do it. So what you're telling us is research and read the room to where you're going to. I think you wanted to actually come in there somehow. I kept seeing you like, I felt like you were saying amen, hallelujah.
No. I was agreeing to what you were saying, that there's no unique idea.
Right.
Like everything has been done. If you look at international content, sometimes people will say that we're copying the international content to make it South African or to resonate with our audience. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But however, you need to always cover yourself. If you are pitching, make sure that your pitch, your presentation, you send it to the right people. You need to have backup, because you can come to me and say, I've got an idea, how about we do a show about water? Right. How many people come to me with ideas, and then tomorrow, like what I stated earlier on, that tomorrow then you have a water show. And you're like, no, but that was my idea. I spoke to Liv. Yeah, back up. Send an email. Request for a meeting. And we've got a process with the SABC. So as much as in these kind of setups, I always say I'm very open. I want to chat to producers. Sure. I love emerging filmmakers because they're still hungry for it. They're not taking it for granted, and they. So I always say that don't talk to me about your idea.
I don't want to know what your idea is. Because at the SABC, we've got now a portal. We've got something that's called the eCAS portal. So if you go into our website and you go to the eCAS portal, that is where you submit your proposition to the SABC.
So that's how I actually send my proposition.
Yes.
Is it foolproof? I mean, sometimes when I deposit something into a digital system and it doesn't talk back to me, I'm not very confident.
No, it does talk back to you. So
Does it?
once you submit, you will get an email response that say your proposal has been submitted. You get a reference as well, and the commissioning department too. And you can always go back and with the
reference number.
With the response and say I submitted on this day, and there are bodies as well who work in the department. So specifically, so we know that in commissioning there is this person, so you know that you can actually follow up with a specific person.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you
supported by human beings.
Do you actually provide feedback? Because I can imagine there's so many submissions coming in.
Yeah. So what happens is, obviously with stuff that you submit, there's various things that you need to have in order for your submission to make it through. Certain documents that you need to have, your company documents and blah 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 that you need to have. And just to mention that at the present moment is that the portal is not accepting any 100% commissions.
Okay.
It also speaks to the times that we're in.
Right.
We have to also move with the times because financially there's a lot of challenges, and we need to find content, that will be easier to acquire.
Right.
Not that easy means not compelling; it means also compelling content. And also that kind of then spills over to the IP conversation, because currently what we're taking on that platform, on the eCAS portal, is pre-sale licenses.
Right.
And your pre-sale license is something that is not completed yet.
Okay.
In fact, sometimes we prefer it, we haven't even started with it, but we are pre-selling it to us.
Right.
But you are already seeking funding out there. So people come and they're still seeking some funding. People come and they have a portion of funding.
Right.
And all you want is a small portion from the SABC in order to complete your funding, so you can produce the work. And you own the IP, you don't own that IP.
All right, because that would have been my next question.
There's licenses, which are your 100% license. You come with your podcast to us and you say it's completed, and people love it. Hey, I've got 100 million followers, subscribers, and I want you to put it on your platform. And if it speaks to our needs and all of that, then you get paid for the license. We don't own the IP, you own the IP.
Wow.
There's advertiser-funded programs where you have gone to your Unilevers, to your Tiger brands and so on, and they've said, they will put money on the table for this, and obviously they want some product placement and so on. And you come to us, you submit it as well. I've got an AFP, and these are the funders that I've got on board. So it's an AFP, and you own the IP.
And you own the IP?
You own the IP for that.
That is very...
And if you want an example of an AFP, you can watch SABC2 on Sundays, 1900. That is 7 p.m. On SABC2, there's a show called The Tastemaster Professional. It's a fully advertiser-funded program. It's a cooking competition reality show. You can see how products are integrated on that.
Wow.
That is an AFP.
Wow, okay. Look, I was hearing in my right ear a very limping round of applause for that information. I would like to... Now, at least we have an idea on how submissions come your way. I'd like to find out from Mojala. How do I submit, how do I come to you? They have a portal. What's your approach? Because we don't do pitch and all of that situation. I understand the model is different. So how do I approach? Because maybe I've got a perfect situation. Maybe it's like, yes, I watch. I do watch, okay. You say I watch, guys, all right? So, but now I've got a concept and I've got like, and it's obviously, it's making a lot of sense in so many ways, but then again, I also have to remind myself that as much as I'm a scriptwriter or I came up with this project, there's also business as well in there. There needs to be some commercial value element. How do I approach you guys? Yeah.
I think that's what we mentioned earlier on. It's really unfortunate that we are currently in the process of brainstorming how to accept a pitch.
To accept, yeah.
Because like I mentioned earlier on, and what she was saying as well, is that there's no unique idea. So it always comes back to bite us.
Right.
Where people now see Isizo Sangalamuga on TV and say, wait a minute, that was my idea.
Exactly.
And I sent it to this person on this day, and now you're taking us to, you want to sue us, you want to fight us, you trash us on social media. So we currently working on a way to say, okay, we want the stories, we want your ideas and your concepts, but how can we protect ourselves?
Absolutely.
As well? Maybe we should have a chat with you to find out how you guys do it as well, because there is a thin line. It's very tricky. We've had quite a lot of incidents. I think if you're on social media, you see people coming saying, Mama Sala was my idea. You promised, okay, that's just an example. But they always come back and say, no, I pitched this idea. And it doesn't look good. It looks very tacky. So we're trying to find a way to get the stories. And that's why right now we're strictly internal. Like
so everything is internal.
Everything is internal. But we do want to open it up.
Right.
And that's, I'm sure by next year when we're back here,
you'll have a system in place
we'll have a system
that'll protect you and those who actually submit as well. Okay.
Also remember, we're dealing with reality. So
very sensitive.
Yeah, for us this is a show.
Very sensitive, yeah.
For Moja, anything is a show.
As long as there's that niche that you like.
Yeah, that stole my idea. I mean, before COVID, we opened up to the industry to say, if you have a pitch, we had a proposal at Mojala account where we were open to third parties to say, come and collaborate with us. And that backfired on us big time, because again, we have a team of executive producers and commissioning editors that are always coming up with developing shows. So you might find that your idea that you pitched, it's already in the works.
Because again, there's no new idea.
Thank you.
All right.
That's why in some pitches, we sit there and we listen and we're like, oh, we are working on something, but there is someone say something, and we have to say.
And you have to make that disclaimer now.
Please note, we are working on a similar idea.
Yes.
So that someone doesn't say, I was busy pitching to them, but they were stealing my idea.
No, we always do.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's switch it up a bit. I'm curious. This question is like a ballpark for between SABC and Moja, and I think any one of you can decide who's picking up the response. What are the top 3 things every filmmaker right here in this plenary should actually include before approaching a broadcaster? Say now we've got systems in place, we've got everything. It's a very good system. Top 3 things that you guys would look out for if you were to actually look at a submission from a filmmaker. Because now we want them to learn and understand exactly how to approach the broadcasters.
So on our side, we have one question when you're pitching.
Right.
What's at stake? That's it. What's at stake? If you look at our shows, you have Jola. What's at stake? Your relationship is at stake. When you look at You Promise Me, what's at stake? If you don't say you want to marry me, that means I'm done with this relationship. Yes. When you bring me to Riatsotela, what's at stake? We need to make sure that the family work together. So we always ask, what is at stake? What is at stake?
What's the bottom line?
Exactly.
For entertainment, the most important thing is that the entertainment. We are looking for high entertainment value. We do not want to bore our audiences. We want to make sure that when somebody tunes in and watch your show, they are able to come back, the next episode and watch your show. So, so entertainment value, it's very important. It has to be high, but your content also has to be inspirational for us. We want to inspire the nation. We want to build the nation, and we want to change lives. That is very important for us.
Okay, all right. Look, I mean, when you caught me when you said high entertainment, and it just got me thinking, how do you value high entertainment? And I think obviously you did qualify by saying inspiration, education, and all of that, but in a time where a lot of people are finding entertainment on their mobile phones through social media, they will go to TikTok and there's someone doing something there and they are just vested in there. What does high entertainment look like? Because, yeah, that's a loaded one.
It's a loaded one, but I think it's more about high entertainment really just means that your show, it's not, I mean, if it's an entertainment show, it cannot be on the somber side. It has to have, I mean, if it's a music show, obviously you want to make sure that, you offer more music. There is music, there is dancing, there is all that, and there is a hook as well, If it's a competition show, you already know that people are going to root for their characters, their favorite characters, and they will come in to just make sure that they support their characters. And that is something that is entertainment, because today you are watching and then your favorite contestant is eliminated, but you still have somebody else that you like, that you really want to make sure they stay on the competition, and so you stay on, you support them. So it's about, there is quite a few elements when we talk about entertainment value. There is, there is entertainment, there is obviously high stakes as well. So there is quite a lot of elements that we look at, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we hook the audience in each and every episode. We entertain them, the music is good as well. So it's not just about somebody sitting and watching a show and they don't actually understand what is going on. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Okay, I think you've literally just summed it up nicely. Mistakes that filmmakers actually commonly make when submitting their projects. And anyone can take this.
A concept that is very unclear. Coming to, you submit your concept to SABC2, but you don't understand the audience for SABC2. So you have to understand the audience for the broadcaster that you are aiming for. So make sure that if you are submitting to SABC1, you need to ensure that that concept definitely aligns to the youth audience. So that's the very first mistake. If you come to a pitch and we can already hear, we would have read your pitch before the actual pitch. So we do read.
Okay, I like
that. We do read. So we already can, we would have already identified that, okay, this pitch does not sit well on SABC1. So that is really the first mistake. But there are other mistakes, like I'm saying, like you have to make sure that your concept is very clear. If your concept has so many things that it's very difficult for us to understand what you want to do, then it makes it difficult for us to say, okay, we can commission this concept or we can move on to the next level.
So to my filmmakers out there, less is more, guys. Don't be like,
simplify concept.
No,
it's got to be.
So simplify, exactly. Right? Okay.
Yeah, simplify your concept. I think if you can tell what your concept is in one page, because I think international broadcasters we are still lenient. Right. We still let you. Even the time that we give you is a lot, and international broadcasters don't give you that much. So you have to say your idea that people understand it. If you have it on one page, great.
Wow.
But even saying that, I work with pre-sale acquisitions, so I sit across all genres.
Right.
So I know, for example, that the drama pitches are longer than any other person purely because of how drama is.
Story development.
The story development. There's a
everything.
lot of questions that my drama colleagues would want to have on the story, the characters, inciting incident, the log line, and most of the questions, come from what is the story? If you can't tell what is the story, then we have problems, because then you yourself cannot tell what your concept is.
Okay. I think that's quite clear. And because at the end of the day, I don't just want to sort of showcase my work on your channel. I'm looking for economic return. So from a budgetary element, do you ever come across poor budgeting, systems with the submissions that you get, and you could see that probably AI wrote this. ChatGPT actually wrote this.
We're going to have problems going forward. Yes, we're going to have so many problems. I'm worried about our children too.
Hey, guys.
They'll be able to think for themselves. We do get those where someone might have under budgeted for their concept.
Right.
So it also helps to do the homework as well, to say, if I have a concept like this, what is like the benchmark in terms of the budgets?
Right.
What kind of budgets am I looking at? If I'm doing a multi-cam, you need to understand those budgets, those fees, so that sometimes if you're pitching a concept, you're like, wow, it's so grand. You want to do an epic. An epic, and your budget is very, very low, and epics cost a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So people either under budget, and then of course there are those that are over budget.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
We're like,
This is not it, okay,
this is not it. We don't even pay that much for something that we haven't
Absolutely.
paid. So yeah.
Can I add some? Can I just say something?
Please.
I think that for new and upcoming producers, I can understand that it cannot be, you've never done it before, but you've probably gone to school, but you haven't worked on a real production before that has actually made it on air. So the most important thing that I would advise is that identify producers who have done it before. If you've got a great concept that you really want to pursue for on air. So once you have identified a broadcaster or two or more, three that you think your concept can sit on, find a producer who's experienced who can help you work on a budget, a proper budget that will align with your concept.
Right.
And I think in that way you'll have better success, because when you submit at the SABC, you don't just submit your concept, but you submit the budget. So we can actually see your budget and the concept before you come to the pitch. So by the time you come to the pitch, we would have already actually seen that your budget does align with your concept. So find a producer who's experienced who can help you to work on a proper budget for your show.
So let's find someone who's done it and ask them, so that guys, we don't over or under pitch, but we do something that is just right. Ambition is good, but being over ambitious will, don't shy. Okay, so a question to everyone. How can emerging filmmakers stand out without massive budgets? Because now we're talking budget. I mean, we already know what Moja Love is about. We know what the SABC is about across all channels. How can an emerging filmmaker stand out without a massive budget? Is that a fair question? What do you think?
Again, going back to the modular model, business model.
Yeah.
Remember, everything is done
Internally, yes.
So already when you come and you pitch your idea, when you're pitching the idea, you pitch the budget as well. And then we will advise you that it's a bit too high, but we'll work around it.
Right.
Again, we are a broadcaster and a production house.
Right.
Production house meaning from pre-production, production, post-production, we supply everything. All you come in with is your IP, the
content plan and ensuring that their content plan is executed on how you pitched the idea. So for us, it's a win-win situation. Because we cover everything.
Because you cover everything, because it's internal. I think it makes life a lot easier for you to make decisions and be in charge of those decisions. Okay, I get you. But for the public broadcaster, it might be a lot more complicated.
Well, at this point in time, as Andy had said, that we accepting AFPs and pre-sales.
Right.
So if you have an AFP that you'd like to submit, I would encourage that, don't come to the pitch with a list of sponsors that you haven't approached before. Come to a pitch once you have identified the sponsors, once you have pitched the concept to them and they are happy and they are, they say to you, okay, you can go and pitch to a broadcaster and we will come on board and this is how much we will fund your production. So you must come already having identified specific sponsors.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So that helps you.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Now